Explore the vibrant arts and culture landscape of Michigan, a state with a thriving creative ecosystem that has birthed iconic movements like Motown and the Purple Rose Theater. Home to legendary musicians, writers, and artists, Michigan boasts a rich tapestry of cultural heritage known worldwide. Michigan Creates is a podcast series that will connect listeners with gifted artists and cultural institutions that are nurturing Michigan's vibrant creative landscape. Welcome to Michigan Creates. I'm your host, Ara Tapuzan, and today we go on to the west side of the state, Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we talk to Michael Hyacinthe. And Michael is the CEO of Wimage. He's a veteran, and he also has a side business and a coffee shop that we're going to talk about that promotes veterans in arts and culture. You'll definitely want to tune into the show as I talk to Michael about all the projects that he's working on and how he's advancing arts and culture here in the state of Michigan. Michael, thanks for being on the program today. I'm excited to talk to you because you've got a very diverse background, both as a veteran and an entrepreneur. And so it's fitting to have this kind of conversation. Let's talk to the audience a little bit about your background. So you're not, I know you haven't spoken yet, but we've talked before and I've heard the accent. So it's not a Michigan accent, is it?
No, it's not. Originally, I'm from the Bronx, New York. And so I'm excited that whenever I talk to people, they ask me, "You're not from here." Well, I'm proud to be a current resident of Michigan. I really appreciate my Bronx upbringing.
And I love the accent. So it's perfect. And we have accents too in
Yes,
Michigan, right? We just
yes.
can't figure it out, but we do. So let's talk about your background a bit. You are a veteran. What branch of service?
I was in the Navy. I served as a U.S. Navy Seabee, so we're the construction engineers of the Navy.
Okay. And how long did you do that?
I served 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And from there, I mean, that's pretty relevant to talk about this because that led you sort of down the path to be an entrepreneur, right? Let's talk about your background. I mean, were you creative minded before going in the Navy? Is this something you were doing as a young gentleman, or did this come really to you after serving in the Navy?
You know what? I think I was always entrepreneurial minded. Ever since going back into high school, organizing events and trips, and bringing people together to do positive things within my community in the Bronx. And then that led me into additional, opportunities through the Navy. And so even while I was in the Navy, I was doing entrepreneurial stuff. I was, during some of my military travels around the world, I would work separate jobs from my Navy job to bring in more money to invest in different things. And so, in addition to that, my parents are both Haitian,
Hmm.
immigrated to the Bronx. And so I saw them working extremely hard. And so I believe entrepreneurs have a very hard work mentality, and that, in my opinion, was something that I saw from my family. And that led me to joining the Navy and now developing these ventures, which supports veterans through creativity and now kids through this character Wimmy that we built.
Right. And we're going to talk about that shortly. I've got to ask before we get into all that, how do you go from the Bronx, New York to Grand Rapids, Michigan? What led you to the Midwest?
Yeah, you had some family that were living here, and I came to visit, and decided to stay here. And yeah, it's a great city, love it.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that I made this the leap to Grand Rapids.
So as a veteran yourself, you saw that there was a need
Yeah.
in the community. So address that. Talk to us a little bit about what that revelation, I guess, if it were for you.
Yeah, and so came out here and during Art Prize, I saw an opportunity to utilize art as a means to help veterans heal. And so we decided to create a nonprofit that would support veterans through creativity. And so we launched this initiative that paired a veteran
Hmm.
with artists. And the purpose was that they would share their story and allow them to build opportunities to heal through creative expression. And
Okay.
so we then decided to, travel around the country by pairing veterans with artists through what's called a 50-state tour. And the purpose of that was to connect one veteran with one artist around the country. And then that typically happens over a cup of coffee. And so from that, we decided to open up a coffee shop in downtown Grand Rapids to continue supporting veterans and give them an opportunity to, showcase their artwork. And then that is what led to, developing the Wimage property that we built.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about Wimmy and the foundation of that you built. What is Wimmy?
Yeah, so Wimage is this robotic character we built to inspire kids to use creativity and imagination to learn. We believe that, through creativity, kids can, really, really explore multiple opportunities. And so Wimage was actually built as a byproduct of the work that we did with veterans. We saw the impact that creativity was having veterans. And so we said, let's utilize creativity to inspire kids as well. And so we then built this technology company called Wimage. And Wimage is an app that converts words to images. And so to make the app a kid-friendly app, we needed a character. And so that's when Wimage, the robot, was born.
So kind of a different name. How'd you come up with the name?
So Wimage.
Well, Wimage. How'd you come up with Wimage?
Oh, so, words to images. And
Oh,
so we
okay.
wanted to provide kids an opportunity to see their words become an image. And
Okay.
so we then said, hey, what if a person could type or speak a word and instantly see that word become an image? And then we then, said, hey, Wimage, words to images.
Yeah.
And that became the name of the technology company that we built, in addition to the app that actually converts words to images. And so to be a kid-friendly app, we needed a character. And so that's when we built Wimage.
Wimmy. There's Wimmy.
There's
Excellent.
Wimage. Yeah.
So how was this received when you first created this app and this program? This was this pre-COVID or was this during COVID?
We launched pre-COVID.
Yeah.
And so with both the technology, the app, and the actual robot puppet. So Wimage is a robot puppet that is spoken through to a friend of mine called Kevin Kamerad. So Kevin is this master puppeteer from the West Michigan area. And so I reached out to him and said, hey, we need a character for this app. And then so he and I and a bunch of other friends, we built this character through this robot to be a puppet. And we would take the app as well as the puppet into classrooms. And kids would use the app and Wimage would interpret the designs that they were creating through fun, humorous, but very imaginative stories. And so we were gaining some success with that. But of course, COVID happened and that
Right.
completely disrupted our ability to go into classrooms. But that didn't stop our innovation. We then pivoted from going into classrooms to creating a show inside Kevin's attic that would still connect with kids at home, because at that time, during the shutdown, kids were working through, Zoom
Yep.
or various other ways that parents and teachers were trying to connect. So we created the show online, and for, I believe, 6 days a week during the entire year of the lockdown, we were filming live,
Wow.
connecting and engaging with kids. And then after that, Michigan Learning Channel found out about us, and then, that then escalated our opportunity to connect with PBS.
So the program, is it airing nationwide at this point?
So we're currently in about 60 million homes through various
Wow.
PBS stations. And really great partnership with our local PBS station, WGVU,
Hmm.
in which we actually do a live show every Friday at 12:30. And what makes this really unique is kids actually have the opportunity to interact with us in real time on live television.
Okay. How so? Like,
So we've
give us some
created
examples.
Yeah, we've created what's called the play at home interface. And from the very beginning of our inception, we wanted kids to be producers of the content that we create, and not just consumers. We didn't want kids just passively watching.
Right.
So the goal was to create a show that would ask kids a question at home. And then at that time, we were using Facebook, messaging to
Mm.
engage kids directly. And so Wimmy would say, "Hey friends, what's the word that rhymes with frog?" And then, little Julie from New York City would say dog, and Wimmy in real time would actually acknowledge her, which in turn gives her the opportunity to recognize that, hey, my words matter, my ideas matter, and I'm helping to create the show. And so then Wimmy would take Julie's word and use it in a song. And so that was what we were doing
Hmm.
before we partnered with PBS Local. To now, we actually have the opportunity for kids to register on Wimmy.tv, and while we're on live television, they can actually interact with us.
That's terrific, and
Yeah,
certainly gets them involved. And I can imagine. I mean, there's to do a show like that, and you're essentially doing it live.
we are.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of work,
It is a
certainly
lot of
for.
work, and I think it's a credit to the team, the Wimmy team, in addition to the partners that we've had that have allowed us to create this really magnificent interface where
Right.
on their smartphones, through a registration, they're actually communicating with us backstage down in Grand Rapids, but they're wherever they are around the country, communicating with us. And in real time, we're interacting with them.
That's terrific. What do you have any special stories that you could share with all of what you've been doing? I mean, pretty remarkable background, first of all. I mean, being a veteran, and coming out of that and using what you learned in that and saw what was missing to really create something. And then, but to add the element of even a coffee shop to it, now a TV program, that's pretty outstanding accomplishments. Any great stories or memorable stories that you could think of that really tie it all in for you?
I think it's yeah, as a veteran, I've had an opportunity to explore the world. I've done multiple things in service of my country, and I credit the sacrifice that I've seen from our wounded veterans, those that have made it back home, but because of their disability, they can't fully participate in the creative space that many Americans benefit from, both financially and creatively. So, from Has Heart, seeing a veteran walk into the coffee shop, seeing artwork created by other veterans who are disabled, to a child who, for the first time, can walk into the Wimmy studio and see something that they're a part of, creating in real time is right here locally, means a lot. And so we are, really looking to inspire the next generation of creatives.
Yeah.
And so we recognize that the jobs of the future are going to require kids to be creative. And so as a father of four, I want to make sure that the kids who are specifically in underrepresented communities get an opportunity to recognize the value of their ideas and their imagination at a very, very early age. And we're seeing that. We're now able to go into classrooms. And so when we go into classrooms and a young child recognizes Wimmy and said, "Hey, Wimmy said my word when I was watching Wimmy last week at home," that lets us know that we're doing the right thing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you were going back in the classrooms. So by headquartering in Grand Rapids, Michigan, with coffee shop and the work that you're doing, I got to imagine some type of expansion is in your future potential future plans. Would Is this something? Let's take it in two spots. Let's take there's Wimmy, and then there's, which can be global, right?
Mhm.
And then you've got the coffee shop with veterans, and that could be also global too. Are there any? Do you have plans for expansion down the road, or what do you see as the future for the work you're doing?
So specifically regarding Wimmy, we're currently right now utilizing the current innovations that you and I are familiar with generative AI. So right now we're building a generative AI component of the Wimmy character to become a child companion that will help kids learn, create, innovate from the moment they're 3 years old to perhaps when they graduate high school. So we're building this companion, and that's where we see the next evolution of the character develop, where we're building a safe AI that will be fun, that will show kids how to be empathetic,
Mhm.
that'll also be humorous, that'll show them the power of their imagination through creativity. So that's where we see the next evolution, in addition to animations with the character. We're currently right now in conversations with PBS Kids, so that Wimmy can become a national, figure.
Yeah.
Uh, and we'll hopefully get into licensing the character. And so I tell all the people that we connect with, we're essentially building the next Sesame Street for digital age learners.
Terrific. That's perfect. Well, I wish you a lot of luck, Michael. We had talked offline that, I met you through another venue and heard a little bit of your story and was really intrigued, especially with all of what you're doing and how you put it all together. So I appreciate you coming on my program and sharing a little bit about what's going on, and great to see that, hey, it's here and it's happening in Michigan. So thank you, Michael.
Absolutely, and really one quick shout out. So we're now launching our second book, and we're actually teaching kids about financial literacy. And so
Okay.
the book that we're launching, it's called Wimmy Learns About Money, and it teaches kids how to earn, save, and give. And yeah, it's just another way that we're utilizing this awesome character to truly engage and connect kids in whatever environment they happen to be in.
That's terrific. And folks can go to Wimee, WIMEE.TV for more information on Wimee. Michael, how about the coffee shop? You want to give a plug for that? Is there a web address for
Absolutely.
that, or?
It's hasheart.us, and we are located right in downtown Grand Rapids on the Veterans Memorial Park. So if you're really looking to get a great cup of coffee and see some fascinating stories of our veterans, we are definitely the place.
Yeah, definitely next time I come out to the west side of the state, I'm going to drop in and check all that out. Michael, thank you again for being on the program today.
Thank you, Ara.
Thank you for tuning in to Michigan Creates. For more information about our podcast series, I invite you to visit michigancreates.net.